Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome again to Born Again to Live, where we're still talking about David.
Love that guy.
Yep, but today we see the dark side.
Oh, I was hoping there wasn't going to be a dark side.
David, he's human, and even though for all those years he was chaste and everything, he showed his integrity and all that stuff, he becomes king and gets the really fancy house, and the human side comes out.
Yeah, well, as Steve said, we're not perfect. Nobody is.
Yep. And you can't really be perfect. There's always something that's gonna trip you up or make you stop.
Well, and God's word says the same thing, right? There is not one of us righteous. No, not one.
Yeah.
With the exception of Jesus, who is God. So
yes. So today, listeners, we're actually skipped all the way over to 2 Samuel chapter 11. There's a story there, and I'm not sure if the listeners read the Old Testament or have heard, but most people know that David, he sinned.
Yeah.
And with Bathsheba.
Yes.
So we're going to go through the story today and talk about what happened, how it happened, the consequences of what happened, and the after effects of what happened.
Yeah.
So that's just telling you straight up we're going to go through this and we're going to talk about it and how it's practical for you.
Yes. All right. And so a little bit of backstory. So David's armies were off at war at this point in time. But it said David remained in Jerusalem for whatever reason. So he's there in his palace. And so this picks up at verse 2 and 3. It says, one evening David got up from his bed and walked around on the roof of the palace. From the roof he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful, and David sent someone to find out about her. The man said, she is Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam and the wife of Uriah the Hittite. Then David sent messengers to get her. She came to him, and he slept with her. Then she went back home. The woman conceived and sent word to David, saying, I am pregnant. All right, so sadly, that's just sin number 1 or 2.
Yeah, like that's the first part of that. I had verses 2 and 3 is David was lusting.
Correct.
Maybe it's because his wife, the previous story we talked about, she was really not a fan of his.
Yeah. It just seemed like she was kind of cold and bitter.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe that's why he was looking elsewhere. I don't know.
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe he should have just went to war. He wouldn't have had that problem. I don't know. But
or maybe he had just been at war, came back, and he had told the guy, with the consecrated bread, he told that priest, well, we refrain from women when we're fighting, right? And so maybe he just kind of, I don't know, he'd been back from a period of time. Who knows? But I mean, again, he's just walking around, and when there is someone without clothes on bathing on a rooftop, I mean, you're gonna look. Come on, you're gonna look.
Well, my boss and I, we always laugh and talk. Well, not really laugh, but we talk about this stuff. And we said one day he was talking to me because I figure that if there's a good-looking woman walking by, every man is gonna look. The sin is when you look the second time. Okay, so I figure that's David in this moment. Like, if she's good looking and she's beautiful and she's naked on the rooftop, he's gonna look.
Right.
Probably looked again, and then he lingered.
Well, and then he goes to the trouble of finding out who she is, right? Because maybe she's single and ready to mingle, but no.
Yeah, and you need to surround yourself with good friends who, when you say, hey, who's that girl? They go, no.
Right?
Not that one.
She's off limits. So yeah, she was married to Uriah the Hittite, who, by the way, was in David's army, as we're going to find out here soon, right?
Yes.
So yes, his one night affair gets him in trouble.
Yeah, because sin has a consequence.
Right.
And he gets her pregnant.
Yes, he does.
It happens.
Correct. Okay, so now we have this problem. She's pregnant, but how can that be? Because her husband is off fighting David's war.
Yeah.
So now comes, as usual, the cover-up.
Yep, you have to hide your sin, right?
You do.
You can't show it to the world.
You do. Oh, yeah, see, I skipped Okay.
You're good. No,
all right. So we are on to verse 6, right?
Yes.
So David sent this word to Joab, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent him to David. When Uriah came to him, David asked him how Joab was, how the soldiers were, and how the war was going. Then David said to Uriah, go down to your house and wash your feet. So Uriah left the palace, and a gift from the king was sent after him. Okay, so now he's like really buttering him up, right? But Uriah slept at the entrance to the palace with all his master's servants and did not go down to his house. David was told Uriah did not go home, so he asked Uriah, haven't you just come from a military campaign? Why didn't you go home? Uriah said to David, the ark and Israel and Judah are staying in tents, and my commander Joab and my lord's men are camped in the open country. How could I go to my house to eat and drink and lie with my wife? As surely as you live, I will not do such a thing. Then David said to him, stay here one more day, and tomorrow I will send you back. So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next. At David's invitation, he ate and drank with him, and David made him drunk. But in the evening, Uriah went out to sleep on his mat among his master's servants. He did not go home.
David is trying really
hard. Man, he is trying so hard.
He's like, man, if that guy goes home, like, I can just say it's him, we're good.
Right.
Like, there's no way it's me. Like,
right.
Wash my hands of that one.
Well, and, Uriah's heart reminds me of that early David that had a heart for the king, even though maybe he hadn't earned it yet. But here's Uriah just, no, I'm going to, if all of your servants are laying down their lives and their comfort for the sake of Israel and for our Lord, like, who am I to take the day off? Like, he's such a good guy. That's what makes this so much worse, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because he's like, go to your house, wash your feet, enjoy yourself. Like, now I'm going to sleep on the floor here outside your door.
Well, and I love how he's also trying to get him drunk, right? Because is it Thirsty Thursday? We all know what happens.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Well, anyway, we all know what happens when you drink a little too much, too. So he's trying every tactic he can think of to get him to go home and be with his wife.
Just to hide the original sin.
Right?
And then, yes, you're right. He is. He's showing that he has some character and that he doesn't even, the fact that he doesn't want to go out when his men are out there, he doesn't want to lay in a comfortable bed. He wants to be uncomfortable. It's like, oh, that's really nice, but come on, just go anyway.
You're too good, Uriah. And yeah, at some point he probably was like, I feel really bad about this right now. And then, well, I hate to say it, Eric, it kind of gets worse from here.
Yeah, and David, again, he's trying to hide one sin, and he continues to do dumb stuff.
Yeah, he does. It's almost hard to believe this is the same guy that danced with all of his might just yesterday.
And it's hard to think that this is the same guy that snuck up behind the guy who had been delivered into his hand in that cave, cut off a piece of his robe, and then was ashamed he did so.
Yeah.
He had that kind of heart. Now he's going to this.
Palace living has changed our friend David, I'm afraid. All right, so then it says, in the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it with Uriah. In it, he wrote, put Uriah out in the front where the fighting is the fiercest. Then withdraw from him so he will be struck down and die. So while Joab had the city under siege, he put Uriah at a place where he knew the strongest defenders were. When the men of the city came out and fought against Joab, some of the men in David's armies fell. Moreover, Uriah the Hittite died. Joab sent David a full account of the battle. He instructed the messenger, when you have finished giving the king this account of the battle, the king's anger may flare up, and he may ask you, why did you get so close to the city to fight? Didn't you know they would shoot arrows from the wall? Who killed Abimelech, son of Jerubbesheth? Didn't a woman drop an upper millstone on him from the wall so that he died in Thebez? Why did you get so close to the wall? If he asks you this, then say to him, moreover, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead.
So your plan to get rid of one thing is to get rid of a life. It's kind of a sad thing.
Man, not just that, but like, it sounds like his whole army took quite a hit because they got so close just to ensure this one guy gets killed.
But the worst part is David wrote this letter and then sent it with the guy who he's plotting against.
Yes!
Out of the battle lines. Like, come on.
So skeevy. It's so skeevy.
It can't be the same guy that was the one chosen to kill Goliath and all these things. And
yeah,
he just had a bad little while there, I guess.
Right. Well, and how interesting. Like, he knew that David was going to be like, why on earth did you get so close to a walled city? You knew that was a bad idea for my people. But as long as he knew Uriah was dead, then that would calm his, then he'd be like, oh, that's why, right? Then he would understand that it was all exactly what he asked for. Wow. So there's sin, there's attempted cover-up, there's forced drinking, there's,
forced cover-up.
Right? Another forced cover-up. And, there's part of me that says, if you want him dead, do it yourself, David. Why not? You've already racked up enough sins. Go ahead and just finish the job.
Stop all of it.
I mean, by a court of law, this would be what? Second degree? Wait, first degree murder? It was planned beforehand, but he didn't actually pull the trigger. So I don't know. I don't listen to enough true crime to really know all the stuff. But yeah, this was premeditated murder, even though somebody else did the killing. So,
and at the end of chapter 11, there it tells us that the letter was delivered to David, and he was okay with the fact that it basically happened. But then it says in 26, when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she lamented over her husband, and when the mourning was over, David sent and brought her to his house and became his wife, and bore him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord.
Yeah.
Which, that much sin and that much cover up and everything else, I'm not surprised that that's probably the first time God went, man, did I pick the right one?
Well, and, I gotta say, it's kind of a jerk move to marry the widow, like, the day after her husband dies. Like, come on. But yeah, he wanted to make sure, oh, no, I want everyone to think that this child was ours. I mean, it's just bad on top of bad on top of bad. So you just kind of, I'm at this point where I just sort of want to slug David now in the face, but.
Been the triumphant leaping hero, and now went to killing and just adultery and everything else.
But this is why the Bible is just amazing, because it doesn't filter. It talks about our own failures as humans all the time. Like the Bible is very unfiltered, and this is the perfect example. Here's like God's own crowned glory just screwing up big time. And so that's what happens sometimes as people. It doesn't matter what we've seen God do. Every so often, our own sin nature, that one that was born of Adam way back in the Garden of Eden, sometimes it gets the better of us, right?
Yep, it does. If we flip over to 12, we can, of course, every sin has a consequence. And then I think it's really cool the way this story ends and how God turns all of this bad that David did into something that is actually good.
Yeah.
So if we got to hear what God says through the prophet Nathan.
Okay.
To David.
All right. You want me to read this in Samuel 12, 1 through 12?
1 through 12.
Okay. The Lord said to Nathan to David, when he came to him, he said, there were two men in a certain town, one rich, the other poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb he had bought. He raised it and grew it up with him and his children. It shared his food, drank from his cup, and even slept in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Now a traveler came to the rich man, but the rich man refrained from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him. Instead, he took that one lamb that belonged to the poor man and prepared it for the one who had come to him. David burned with anger against the man and said to Nathan, "As surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this must die. He must pay for that lamb 4 times over, because he did such a thing and had no pity." Then Nathan said to David, "You are the man. This is what the Lord said, the God of Israel. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave your master's house to you and your master's wives into your arms. I gave you all Israel and Judah, and if all this had been too little, I would have given you even more. Why did you despise the word of the Lord by doing what is evil in his eyes? You struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and took his wife to be your own. You killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. Now, therefore, the sword will never depart from your house, because you despised me and took the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your own. This is what the Lord says, out of your own household I am going to bring calamity on you. Before your very eyes I will take your wives and give them to one who is close to you, and he will sleep with your wives in broad daylight. You did it in secret, but I will do this thing in broad daylight before all Israel." Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot in that response from God. But I think what it comes down to is he was just that righteous anger again.
Yeah.
I mean, David knew he did wrong, and God told him about it.
Yeah.
But his response, David wasn't really expecting that he was going to do all the things he did to him. And that part there at the end when he said, "You did it in secret, but I will do it in the light of day." Like,
yeah.
That's pretty harsh. That's pretty straightforward.
Well, what's interesting to me is how we don't see ourselves clearly most of the time. It took Nathan telling David this kind of parable about this person that despite having all this sheep and cattle and being very rich, he took from that poor man. And it wasn't until David hears this story like, "Oh, that guy's awful, he should die," that he realizes it is himself, right? God had done all of these things for him. He could have any woman in Israel he wanted, and he took the one from this poor Hittite that was serving in his army. Like, you are that guy, King David. But you know what? Like, we just don't see ourselves. Well, oftentimes we don't want to see ourselves the way we really are, right? And that, in that case, that was David. He did not want to admit to himself that he was that person. And, it's a sad state of affairs. And yeah, the Lord was not happy. Did you like how I read that part with a little bit of anger in my voice?
Imagine this. Can you imagine David being like, "Oh, that man must die," and when that Nathan turns around and look, it is you.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap,
you're that guy.
Excuse me while I go over here because I don't really want to take that now. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would not want to deliver that news. I mean. Again, this dude is a mighty warrior. Okay, are we going to move on to...
We're actually out of time, so we can move on to Monday, getting the response from David.
Okay. I have to wait for the whole weekend.
You're going to have to wait.
Okay.
We're already at like 19 minutes, and we got to stack stuff.
Oh, we do have to stack some stones. Okay.
I feel like we're going to get David's answer to God and how God uses it for good. And then we'll go through a little more David next week.
Okay, that sounds great.
So you want to stack your stone? You want to stack?
I'll go first. Not too long ago, I had to go down to UVA and take my mom for a surgery. And this is how God answers prayers sometimes. I had a lot of people praying for her whole church, all of her friends, everybody was praying for my mom. And again, you kind of have this tunnel vision that says, "God, this is the way I want to pray for that. It needs to go this way. It needs to go this way." So we got down there thinking she was going to have one thing done. And the doctor, got her all ready for surgery, got in there with a microscope. It's like, "Oh, this isn't nearly as bad as we thought. So they were able to do a way less invasive surgery. And my mom was like up and at 'em. Like we left within, 15 minutes of starting the surgery and went and got lunch. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like and I just remember at the time, like I was overwhelmed with that. Like you're so overwhelmed, you almost can't thank God in that moment. And, or you're just in such shock and disbelief at what you just witnessed. But when I had some time alone, I was like, wow, God, like, thank you. Like it was an answered prayer to kind of a prayer that we never prayed, right? He's just like, I'm going to do above and beyond what you asked for. So I am just so grateful for that. And just the way he takes care of her.
That's awesome.
So great.
All right. My stone is going to be an old stone.
Oh.
A couple weeks ago, we talked about reaching into those countries that aren't showing up on my little cool map that you get on our thing. Well, I will be posting later a picture from, we hit our first foreign country.
Yay!
We have the country of Ghana.
I love that so much.
It wasn't on my radar of where we were going to get, but I pulled it up and bam, there it was.
It's so cool.
So yeah, I'm really thankful we're started hitting other countries. Hopefully it'll continue. I've been looking and thinking, God, you're just going to have to grow this thing.
Yeah.
And I've actually researched a bunch, like, how can you grow your podcast? Thinking that I need to do something. And I'm like, nope, I'm leaving it up to God. He's going to grow it according to his way.
That's right.
So I just want to stack the stone that we have reached something that I had as a dream. And we're in other countries.
Well, and here's hoping that your old stone becomes a rolling stone, Eric.
I would love to see all kinds of countries pick us up and start listening. But if that one person in Ghana, and it's a full listen, they didn't just...
Yeah.
The apps that we use, all the different platforms, they show you if it's a play or if it's just a hit.
Yeah.
Like somebody may hit our podcast and be like, oh, let me check it out, and they won't actually listen to a full episode. This was a full listen.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool.
And, guys, it's not really about how many listeners we have. It's about God's word reaching people that need it. So I just pray for that listener in Ghana that whatever it was they needed to hear from God that day, that they got to hear it.
Absolutely. So tune in again on Monday when we finish the story of David. But hope y'all have a great weekend.
Bye.
No longer fear tomorrow. No more shame or sorrow. My past regrets were washed away.
Hey guys, thanks again for joining us today. We want to make you a part of the conversation. So please visit our Facebook page at Born Again to Live the podcast and leave a note or a comment, questions, prayer requests. We just want to hear from you. And while you're at it, please like, subscribe, and share so that others can find out about our podcast. Thank you.